Hi, we're back with the aorist tense, part 2, and here we're dealing with the second aorist. So let's get started here. The second aorist is marked by the internal change. Remember that with the first aorist, we had our prefixed augment, our stem, our suffix, and the ending, and also the key of the sigma alpha. Now with the second aorist, we are dealing with the internal change. So let's take a look here. Here's the second aorist active indicative of balo. We have to use a new verb. So let's say these together. Ebalan, ebales, ebalen. First plural. Ebalamen, ebaleta, ebalan. Now, what are our parts? Here we have a prefixed augment, don't we, with the epsilon. Then we have our stem, but notice this stem, it's changed. The regular verb that we had in the present tense was balo, but it had 2 lambdas. Now we just have 1 lambda. And notice then we have our ending. So we have our augment, internal change, ending. But notice the endings here. On, es, en, amen, eta, on. What do you notice here? Those are the endings we had back in chapter 6 with the imperfect, active, indicative. The endings are the same. The imperfect also had the prefixed augment, but the second aorist has the augment, internal stem change, and the endings are the same as what we had with the imperfect tense. So we have a memory aid here. We see ball. We have to change persons here because we can't deal with Lou. Lou goes with the pattern of the first aorist. So we see ball here. The aorist with his 2 arrows for second aorist. At some point in the past, ball actively threw his arrows and hit the indicator. From left to right, you see P augment for the prefixed augment. Then ball, he's a stocky ball. Notice his big belly, and that's an internal stem change. And then finally, we see the honest hen with the omelet on her hat, cheering on ball here for his successful throw. So the honest hen with the omelet on, that reminds us of the imperfect tense. We had the same picture there. Here's our second aorist middle indicative of balo. Let's pronounce these together. Ebalamein, ebalu, ebalata, ebalamatha, ebalasta, ebalanta. Notice again here, we have the prefixed augment. Here's our internal stem change, and then we have our ending. What are the endings here? Amen, u, eta, amatha, estha, anta. We've seen those endings before, haven't we? Again, you see ball here, the arrowist with his 2 arrows. He threw his arrows and hit the indicator with the medal. See the Olympic medal there for middle voice. From left to right, you see the prefixed augment. Then ball, 2 arrows, the indicator with the medal. And then we see a main that blew a top. And here's the ending. Amen, u, eta. So a main blew a top. And amethyst is the one on top. So amatha, estha, anta. So amethyst is the on top. Those are the endings we've had before. So let's pull it all together with the tenses thus far. With the present, we had the stem plus the ending. So, and that was present continuous. So, for example, we have baptizamen. That's present active indicative first person plural. We baptized. Baptizamatha, stem ending, and then we have our middle passive ending. So present, middle, passive, indicative, first person plural. We are being baptized. That's present, continuous. The imperfect tense was past, continuous. And what were our parts? We had our prefixed augment, we had our stem, and then we had our ending, and that's an active ending. So imperfect, active indicative, first person plural, we were baptizing. And then with the middle passive voice, again, we had the prefixed augment, then our stem, and here's our middle passive ending. We were being baptized. Imperfect, middle passive, indicative, first person plural. The future, we had our stem, then we had our sigma suffix, and there's our ending. So future active indicative, first person plural, we shall baptize. And then the future middle, baptismi, we shall baptize for ourselves. We haven't yet seen the future passive. And then finally, with the first and second aorist, we are dealing with past time and point action. With the first aorist, we have our prefixed augment, we have our stem. Here we have the sigma suffix, and we also notice the presence of the sigma alpha, and there's our first person plural ending. So first aorist, active indicative, first person plural, we baptize. That is the regular pattern. And then with the second aorist, we notice here our prefixed augment, we have the internal stem change, and then we have our ending amen. So second aorist, active indicative, first person plural, we through. So from this point, then the next thing to look at are our second aorist irregulars. And there's a presentation on that alone. So thanks so much, and have a wonderful experience.